What if I told you that you had a toolbox that can make you more effective in literally every conversation you have? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are going to master the fundamental skill of asking the right questions, and in the process, turn you into a much more strategic and powerful communicator.
All right, let's just jump right in with a little puzzle. Take a look at these two questions. Now, on the surface, they seem pretty similar, right? They're both about a seminar. But trust me, grammatically, and more importantly, strategically, they operate in completely different worlds. You could say one is a closed door, and the other is a wide open one.
So what is the real difference? It all comes down to intent. When you ask, "Are you attending?" you're just looking for a piece of data, a simple yes or a no. But asking, "Why are you attending?" Now you're digging for motivation, for reasons, for a story. You're inviting a much bigger explanation.
And that's why, if you really want to level up your communication, you've got to start thinking like a craftsman. Your questions are your tools, and your conversations are the things you build. The secret is knowing exactly which tool to pull from your toolbox and when.
Okay, first up in our toolbox is what I like to call the scalpel. It's sharp, it's precise, and it is designed for one job and one job only, getting a direct, clean answer without any fluff. This is your go-to tool for confirmation and for controlling the conversation.
So why would you use this? Well, it's all about managing the flow. By asking a yes-no question, you are intentionally closing off all the other possibilities to get to one single, undisputed fact. It is absolutely the fastest way to confirm or deny something and just move on.
And the great thing is, building one of these scalpel questions is super straightforward. It's like a simple 3-part recipe. You start with a helping verb like do or will, then you add your subject, and you finish it off with the main action. That's it. Simple.
And you hear these all the time, right? Each one is built for speed. Do you like sushi? Yes. Will she be coming? No. Have they finished? Yes. See? Simple, clean, direct.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because you can upgrade this simple tool for more expert situations. You can add a little tag question at the end of a statement when you want to get agreement. Or you can frame it negatively to show surprise. You can even embed it in a polite phrase to soften the ask and sound way more diplomatic.
Okay, so that's the scalpel. But what happens when a simple yes or no just isn't going to cut it? When you need to pry open a topic to see what's really inside? Well, that's when you reach for the crowbar. Think of this as your exploration tool. The what question, our crowbar, makes a simple yes or no answer totally impossible. It's specifically designed to force the other person to give you details, context, and substance. It demands the real story.
And these W words, they're like the different grips you can use on that crowbar. Each one is designed to pull out a very specific kind of information. Who gets you a person, where gets you a place, why gets you a reason, and how gets you the method.
The blueprint here is also super reliable, but it always kicks off with that powerful W word. That first word is a signal to everybody in the conversation that you're not just looking for a quick confirmation. You are digging for the good stuff.
Okay, now here is a really subtle point that trips a lot of people up, so listen close. When who is the person doing the action, the structure is simple. Who called you? But when who is the person receiving the action, the whole structure has to flip, and you need that little helper verb, who did you call?
Want another pro tip for using your crowbar? Pay attention to where you put the preposition, because it can instantly change your entire tone. Putting it at the very beginning, like to whom, sounds very formal, almost academic, but ending the sentence with it, like speak to, that's much more common, much more conversational.
All right, just like with any powerful tools, you can absolutely misuse them if you're not careful. So let's go over the user manual and look at a few critical warnings to make sure you're using these question tools the right way.
Oh man, this is a classic trap. Where you are going. You see, it sounds more like a statement because the word order is just a little bit off. To make it a real question, we just need one tiny change.
And here it is. The fix is so simple. You just invert the subject and the verb. Where are you going? Boom. That small swap makes all the difference in the world.
Okay, here's another one people fall into all the time. Trying to ask two questions in the same sentence. Do you know is your first question, but then what is this is a second question tacked on, and it just doesn't work. The correct way to do it is to let that second half of the sentence just relax. Let it go back to a standard statement structure, what this is.
Do you know what this is? So much smoother.
And this trap happens when we try to be a little too correct with our grammar, and we force in that helper verb did where it really doesn't belong.
But you got to remember our rule, right? When who is the subject, the one actually doing the calling, you don't need the extra help. The structure is clean and simple. Who called you?
Okay, so you've got the basics of the scalpel and the crowbar down pat. You know the big traps to avoid. Now let's talk about how to get to pro status by combining these tools like an expert.
This, right here, is where communication really becomes an art form. You see, true masters don't always ask direct questions. They embed them inside of statements. And this one technique instantly makes you sound more polite, more sophisticated. It shows you're not just demanding info, you're interacting with nuance, and that can lower people's defenses and get you a much, much better answer.
So there you have it. You've got the precision of the scalpel and the power of the crowbar. These are the absolute foundational tools for building understanding, for getting information, and for connecting with other people. The only question left is, what conversations are you going to build with them?